Today, workers at 21 different Starbucks stores across the country simultaneously told their employer that they plan to unionize. And this is historic. They did break a record because this is the highest number of stores to do so at once since the Starbucks Workers United Union began organizing in the winter of 2021. Now, unfortunately, what their employer is attempting to do in dismantling the NLRB is something we should also pay close attention to. We'll get to that in a moment. But first, more details on what the workers at Starbucks are asking for. In a joint statement to Starbucks and their CEO, the workers demanded higher wages, fair and consistent scheduling, which is huge. You can't really plan your life or your week if you don't know when you're gonna be booked to work, improved benefits, and a safe and dignified workplace. More specifically, the Starbucks workers are demanding minimum pay of $20 per hour, annual raises of 5%, and a guarantee of at least 32 hours a week for full-time workers, among other proposals. The Starbucks union movement has been enormously successful, so we should celebrate wins when we get them. For instance, baristas at roughly 400 of Starbucks's 9,000 corporate-owned stores have formed unions with Workers United as part of the campaign. Workers United has won more than 80% of the union elections that have been held, and that's according to the National Labor Relations Board. Now, today's announcement is huge. It's intended to revitalize the labor movement, the union effort, which has stalled a little bit since Starbucks has refused to negotiate first contracts with the stores that did vote to unionize. And unfortunately, that's an extremely effective union busting tactic, because what it does is it ends up stalling. And if they stall long enough, then the workers have no choice but to basically recertify the vote to form a union. You know, the time runs out on that. And so according to John Logan, the chair of the Labor Studies Department at San Francisco State University, that same process takes just 3 months, 3 to 4 months in many other countries to negotiate a first contract. Here in the United States, it lasts a lot longer. The average has climbed to 565 days in 2022.
We might have millions of people watching this show, but you can be the difference maker, because we just need 1% of our audience to be paid members, and then this show can be around forever. So you can make that difference. Click join now.
So I don't know how Starbucks is gonna react or respond to this. They have attempted to crush the labor effort that we're seeing at Starbucks previously. I'll give you some more details on that. But I do want to give them a lot of credit, because clearly they're motivated and they're fighting as hard as they can to ensure that they have a better work environment and better pay, better benefits, which they certainly deserve, because working as a barista, I can say from firsthand experience, is really, really difficult work. You're on your feet all day, you're dealing with customers, many of whom are in a bad mood, many of whom can be abusive. I mean, I've had a hot latte literally thrown at me when I was a barista. And so I do think that they not only deserve better treatment and better pay, they deserve a lot of admiration for the fact that they're willing to fight for it.
Look, we need movements like this in the country, because there is no cavalry. I've now spent 2 decades looking for the cavalry. They're not coming. They don't exist. You are the cavalry. So the people in power don't care about you at all. They're not gonna come to help you. The politicians are totally useless. The great majority of the progressive groups are totally useless. The unions used to be completely useless. Now, all of a sudden, unions are revived. So Sean Fain and Sean O'Brien, that's UAW, and the Teamsters have done a great job and actually represent their workers and fight for their workers. But I love that people organically came up with the Starbucks Workers United Union, and they made a huge difference. And so this is what you have to do. Look, in terms of the negotiations, I don't know what the right wages are. You gotta know all the nitty gritty to know that. But that's not the important part. The important part is that you unified and became your own cavalry. We desperately need that in all contexts. So please keep doing that.
Absolutely. So just to reiterate, if enough time lapses since the workers voted to unionize, there are consequences for that, which is why the employers tend to stall. Once a full year elapses after workers first vote to unionize, workers can petition to decertify or vote out the union. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about Starbucks' response to previous union efforts. In response to the 21 stores unionizing today, a Starbucks spokesperson stated that the company intends to negotiate first contracts with unionized stores this year. Wink, wink. But there's very little reason to take them at their word, considering what they've been doing behind the scenes. So apparently, labor board judges have ruled against Starbucks again and again, finding the company violated the law in 48 out of 49 cases that have been heard so far, according to a tally provided by an NLRB spokesperson. So they absolutely despise the NLRB. And so unfortunately, what we're now seeing is this effort by multiple different companies, including, unfortunately, Trader Joe's, to call into question the legality of the NLRB to begin with. So they're trying to do away with the power that the NLRB has. And so you have Amazon, SpaceX, Trader Joe's, and Starbucks arguing that the NLRB is unconstitutional. The company wrote in a legal filing the following: Article 2 of the Constitution vests the executive power in the president, who must take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Thus, if an agency does important work, its leaders must be removable by the president, no matter the agency's size or role. The NLRB performs important work, yet the board members are removable only for neglect of duty of malfeasance. That limitation frustrates the presidential control Article 2 demands. So, like, what do you think they're doing here, Cenk? Do you think that they're hoping that Trump gets elected and then Trump is able to unilaterally fire these individuals? Like, I don't really understand what that argument is.
Yeah, no, it doesn't have to be a good argument. It just has to win, right? So yeah, they're definitely delaying. The delay helps on two fronts. The one that you explained in terms of legally they could then get a new vote. And then if you wait long enough, a Republican could win, or maybe a Democrat that's even more corporate than Joe Biden. And Biden has been good on National Labor Relations Board. So since that's one of his areas of strength, they might be thinking, well, let's just wait to get Biden out, and then the next politician that comes along, there's a 98% chance they'll be our dog. And so we'll get our dog to fetch by just giving them a little bit of donor money. And so that's a fair political calculation. It's horrible for the country, but probably true in their calculation.